My energy used to be unpredictable because I hadn't structured the foundations of my body properly. With the primal pyramid, it's foundations first. The goal is simple: reclaim optimal years by reversing biological age in a measured, data driven way. When I started treating my body like a business, everything changed. In business, before we fix departments, we fix the business model. So it's simple and scalable. Nobody wants a noisy business. And today is about removing that noise. Get the foundations right consistently, and the entire structure starts to stabilize. Welcome to Longevity Masters. I'm your host, Grant Hutchby, and this show exists to provide the formula for founders to reclaim optimal years by reversing their biological age. Our flagship system is the primal pyramid, and the metric we measure against is primal age, which is the first unified biological age score across multiple platforms. The mission is simple: to reclaim as many years of optimal life as possible in as many founders as possible. Today, we're laying the foundation. We're breaking down how this system works and why most health advice fails high performing men. And to start governing your body with the same structure you use in your business. Let's dive in. Our first major goal of reclaiming 10,000 years of optimal life. We don't do agendas, we do objectives, outcomes over activity. This session is about understanding, not perfection. It's always the 80-20 rule. So 80% doing everything right and then allowing yourself 20% to be flexible. This is about high impact, low complexity, and it's not about doing everything. It's about doing the few things that move the needle the most. We're managing the body like a business, not biohacking things randomly. This is the foundation work. Everything we build on over the next 12 weeks sits on this, and everything we do follows the three values of simplicity, structure, and consistency. And this is the biologically correct structure for learning and implementing that learning. It's important that we highlight that we need to get our state of mind in the correct place to be able to learn properly. If we're in a low energy state of mind, we're less likely to retain the things that we've learned. And if we don't test ourselves and challenge ourselves, that also won't reinforce the learning. So this is just the structure that we'll always follow. And here is the primal pyramid. So first, what we do is we will fix the foundations. This is your operations department. Stabilize the fuel and recovery first. We can't optimize without this base. Then we have the clean section, and this is where we clean everything out. This is your marketing department. We will regulate and condition the system, and then we will train with intention and intensity. The next layer of the pyramid is where we build on everything. This is your sales department, where we optimize performance and we work on the advanced tools like supplements and ice baths and saunas to absolutely get that last 5% that we need when it comes to reclaiming your optimal years of life. And then at the end, we will reflect, measure all of the results via your smart devices, and then review the data so that the next 12 weeks are as strategic as we possibly can. However, today is all about the foundation underneath the pyramid. Light, oxygen, and magnetism sit underneath everything, and we must build this base before we move on to the main parts of the pyramid. So like I said, this is what we're doing today. And then over the next 12 weeks, we're going to be looking at the three departments. And then finally, we have 1 week where we reflect on everything and make a strategic plan for the next 12 weeks. So this is the order of biological optimization. Opinion. We have the gut first, which stabilizes your supply before scaling the output. This is like your business formation. Then we have the heart second, and this is like stress testing and regulating your flow under pressure and intensity, a bit like scaling the business up. And then we have the brain, which is third, which is like optimizing your leadership, focus, and behavior, commonly known as like normalizing the business. And it has to happen in this order, just like a business would in the business cycles. And then your skin reflects the cumulative results of everything that you've done. This sees the results and allows us to optimize for optimum business performance. So the business cannot storm before they form. And it's the same with our body. Each phase builds on the stability of the previous one. And as mentioned, we are running the body like a structured company. Now, you see the middle bit? This is the vagus nerve. And this is like your internal communication system, your Slack, your email, your intranet, your WhatsApp thing, how everything links together. And it's exactly the same with your business. So now we've got the core behaviors that drive the 12 hormones. So these are the 12 hormones that we focus on over the 12 weeks, one hormone for each week. And then these are the behaviors that drive the performance. We tackle them progressively, not all at once. Some you'll already be doing well, others there'll be gaps. And over the 12 weeks, we'll define what good looks like for each one. The goal isn't perfection, it's awareness, structure, and consistency. So we're going to bust a few myths now. So myth number one, cholesterol is bad. Myth number two, high metabolism is good. Myth number three, inflammation is bad. Myth number four, more supplements equals better health. And then myth number five, you must eat a lot of antioxidants. So let's move on to the reality. Reality is ApoB is bad within cholesterol. We've got ApoB and triglycerides, which are the things to watch out for. LDL and HDL have been oversimplified as good and bad cholesterol, LDL being bad cholesterol, HDL being the good cholesterol. And the only reason it's been called good and bad is because HDL doesn't carry the ApoB particles, whereas the LDL does. Now, that doesn't mean that all LDL is bad. It just means that typically it will carry the ApoB particle, which makes it bad. Next, metabolism. So the reality is you need to have a steady, well-managed metabolism. So think stability versus speed. So what we need to make sure here is if you were to think of this in a business sense, a steady cash flow is much better than loads of cash flow and your business not being able to handle it. And that's the same with your metabolism. Inflammation, you have to think about as like a fire alarm. So a fire alarm is great because it tells us when there's a fire. However, when the fire alarm is constantly switched on, it creates stress. And that's exactly what it would do in a building. If the fire alarm was on all the time, no one would be able to concentrate in the building, but it has its purpose. So acute inflammation will heal, whereas chronic inflammation harms you. The next, so supplements, we have to fix the environment first. You can't take a pill to fix everything if your environment is bad. So supplements is what gives us the extra 5%. But it, like I said in here, it won't fix your environment and routine. We need to get those right before we focus on any supplements. And then last but not least is your body makes its own antioxidants. And we need to have free radicals in our body after we've exercised to allow our body to adapt. And yes, we need antioxidants to clear out the free radicals. However, we need it to be done in a rhythmic and proper way that allows our body to react. If you put too many antioxidants into your body, it clears things out too quickly, and the adaptation process doesn't happen as well as it could. So please be aware that it's not just about shoving tons of antioxidants into your body. Humans evolved near the equator, specifically in Africa, about 300,000 years ago. Now, the relevance of this is near the equator, generally most of the year round, it has 12 hours of sunlight and 12 hours of dark. Now, this means that we evolved with sunlight being around for 12 hours and not being around for 12 hours. 99% of our evolution is built this way. So when you have a artificial home, we've only had artificial home lighting for the last 100 years or so, and LED blue lighting for around about the last 20 years. So my point still stands, is that your biology is built for sunlight, not screens. Now, if you don't live near the equator, that's fine. There's a solution for that. But we need to give our bodies the light that it is expected to have had for 99% of our existence. And the morning light tells your body to wake up. It raises your cortisol properly, and it sets the sleep time for the evening when you want to go to bed. Afternoon light reinforces the daytime, supports focus, and manages your stress response. And then obviously the evening dim light makes sure that melatonin, which is the hormone that you need to fall asleep, allows it to be released and gets you into that deep sense of sleep and sets your night and sleep up for success. So light is the strongest controller of daily hormone timing. So light sets when the business starts, peaks, and shuts down. If the schedule is off, every team runs at the wrong time. So if you can, get outside within 30 minutes of waking. If not, we need to use a SAD light. Next is absorb that afternoon sun. Like I said, it is absolutely great for setting the timing of everything, because the different light that you get in the afternoon will actually help your body's systems and hormone release. And then last but not least is making sure that we bring our light down within 2 to 3 hours of going to sleep. And the things that you need to remember is that consistency beats perfect conditions all the time. So whether you're traveling, whether you've got kids, whether it's dark mornings or late calls, you can adapt yourself to the environment. Your screens have the ability to remove blue light. So if you're working late, or you can use things like blue light blocking glasses, which we provide to all of our clients, along with a SAD light. So what I have to be clear with here is the SAD light rules. So the important thing with a SAD light is it's about clock timing. It's not about mood or brightness preference. And the distance that you sit from the SAD light matters quite a lot. So ideally, you need to be within 12 inches from the face, and you need to be in front of it for 2 minutes minimum. And the light itself needs to be a minimum of 10,000 lux, which if you go to a SAD light online, it will give you the options that you've got in terms of lights that will be suitable for this. Now, you don't want to be more than 1 meter away from it, otherwise it's going to have little or no effect. But if you're between 12 inches and 1 meter, you need to adjust the time to between 30 and 60 minutes. Obviously, the closer you are to 1 meter away, the closer you're going to need to be to being that 60 minutes in front of it. So ideally, you just get it close and do it for 20 minutes. Think we're sending a clear morning has started signal to the brain. If you don't send that signal to the brain, all of your hormone releases are delayed because cortisol will last longer, which means melatonin isn't released properly, and other hormones like serotonin that get released near the afternoon, again, aren't released in the right timing or the right levels. So I've got a question for you. Where does most of your focus go? Food, hydration, or breathing? We obsess over food, we track hydration, and we assume that breathing just happens. And do you know what? It does. But what would happen if we trained it? Now, remember, you can survive without food for about 40 days. You can survive without water for about 72 hours before things bad start happening. However, you can only survive without breathing for approximately 180 seconds before certain systems start failing. And the thing that you can't live without for 3 minutes gets the least attention. So we need to flip this on its head. We need to have an amazing focus on our breath. We need to focus heavily on our hydration, and then we need to focus on the food that we're putting into our body. So flip it around in terms of your focus. So this is just some stuff about what intentional breathing does. So this is about physiology, not mindfulness or meditation. Different breathing styles create different hormonal responses. Fast breathing, is a short-term tool for high energy and alertness, right? And this will help your resting heart rate. Slow breathing calms the system and energy management. This will help your HRV. Oxygen delivery improves when breathing mechanics improve, not just your breathing rate. So it helps oxygen reach your cells, which helps your VO2 max. And over breathing, especially through mouth breathers, is common in high performing founders. And by doing this, you lower your CO2 tolerance and can impact VO2 and your recovery percentage. And then breathing rhythm directly impacts all of the areas, which is going to help on your sleep score. So having a steady heart and all of these things will make sure that your breathing directly changes these KPIs because it changes the signals that your body runs on. And the KPIs improve because the business is less noisy, business being your body. So this is what we need to do. Breathing determines how much pressure the business can handle. A poor capacity creates reactivity, and a strong capacity creates control. So first, we need to improve blood flow and pressure by breathing through the nose. This reduces unconscious stress breathing. Daily practice improves your night breathing as well. So this you need to use intentionally. CO2 dumping wakes the system up. Use this in the morning or a pre-performance tool. Avoid this in the evening because it stimulates adrenaline and cortisol, which is what you want in the morning hours. Short-term stress will improve your tolerance to stress in the future and also fatigue and anxiety. This is controlled stress, not chronic or long-term stress. And then we use longer exhales to calm the system down. Breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. And the breathing out needs to be longer than the breathing in. So you use this before decisions, meetings, hard conversations. This is real-time nervous system control, not meditation. So over 99% of human history, we were physically connected to the earth daily. Barefoot, sleeping close to the ground, outdoors most of the day, our nervous system evolved in constant electrical balance with the planet. The modern reality, rubber soles, elevated homes, insulated flooring, artificial environments, we're surrounded by constant electrical fields. When was the last time you were barefoot on natural ground? We've made life more comfortable, but removed constant earth contact. The body expects contact with the earth the same way it expects light from the sun. We're not adding grounding to your life. We've unconsciously removed it. Grounding doesn't give you energy. What it does is it stops energy leaking, and therefore your body becomes quieter, your heart beats more smoothly, and your brain stops staying on high alert. So, how do we stabilize the operating procedures? Grounding reduces background noise and unnecessary stress. Stable procedures keep the business calm so that teams can focus on the output. So, direct skin contact matters. Grass, sand, soil, even 10 minutes counts. Think of this as like decharging or discharging the static within your body. Open space lowers background stress. Visual calm reduces the nervous system load. This is about regulation, not just about going for a walk in nature. And then last but not least, all devices away from you and get off the grid. Take an electricity break. Think like airplane mode, reduce the unnecessary electrical load on your body. So you can get things also that will help with this, like grounding mats, sheets, and socks that will mimic the barefoot contact with the earth. And remember, this isn't just about being outdoors. This is about reconnecting your nervous system to a stable baseline. So it gets much less interference. So what have we actually done today? Today wasn't about hacks. It was about structure. We aligned body cycles with business cycles. We separated myth from reality. We defined 3 environmental levers that control absolutely everything. Light sets the direction, breathing controls response, and earth contact stabilizes the system. This is foundational work, not optimization. You don't need more tactics. You need tighter control of inputs. If you manage light, oxygen, and magnetism consistently, your teams and departments start to communicate properly. So we didn't rebuild the business today. We got the business model correct so that it's not a noisy business anymore. Information doesn't create change, recall does. So before we move forward, let's make sure that you retain this information. So, first question, what is cholesterol mainly used for in the body? Have a think. Number 2, what is metabolism really about? Number 3, what does light control in your body? Number 4, what is breathing mainly used for? And number 5, what does connecting to the earth help with? Remember, this isn't a test. This is reinforcement. If you don't get an answer correct, that's good. It's your brain adjusting. So don't overthink it. Answer the questions, and then we'll check to see if you got it right. And obviously, if you're listening in or watching or anything like that, just make a mental note. And if you got the answer wrong, it's okay. Hopefully, because you got the answer wrong, it will allow you to remember it in the future. So what is cholesterol mainly used for in the body? The answer, repairing damage and making hormones. Number 2, what is metabolism really about? Answer, how your body manages energy. So number 3, what does light control in your body? And answer, when your body wakes up and goes to sleep. Number 4, what is breathing mainly used for? Answer, controlling stress and energy. And then last but not least, what does connecting to the earth help with? And the answer is calming the body and reducing the background stress. So I ask you, what is the 1 or 2 things that you will do off the back of today? Write them down, remember them, and make sure they're the things that you start doing from today. And remember this, learning sticks when the nervous system is calm. This is where we lock everything in. Remember, it's not relaxation. This is about integration. Get it right, and you absolutely will be building a foundation to make the success that you will need. And remember, be young, be happy, and be free, people. I'll see you in the next episode.